Hey everyone, my name is Kai Chimura. I'm the host of Soccerpedia. I'm very excited to bring you this new episode of Soccerpedia. For today, I have a special guest. His name is Kofi Yankey. I've known him since high school. We've played on the same, of course, high school soccer team in JV and varsity. We've both played together with, back in 2015, Georgia Revolution had a under 20 Super Y team that we played along together. And so I've played against him in various different leagues. I've played with him in for several different teams. And overall, Kofi is one genuine guy, and I'm really happy to call him a friend. Everybody in their life needs a Kofi. And so I am very excited to have him on the show. I think you're still trying to connect to audio. What's going on? Can you hear me? Let's see. I can't hear you. All right, let's see. It's connecting right now. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Sweet. How's it going, man?
It's going well. You?
Good, good. Yeah, dude, I'm very, very happy to have you on the show, dude. So I'm just trying to, or I had this podcast for a couple months, and I'm just trying to get different types of people all across, and I'm glad that you have the time to appear on the show. So
Well, I appreciate the invite. So
yeah,
yes,
man.
that means a lot.
So we go way back in high school, and we played, of course, with the high school team. We've been together. About 5 years ago, we were on the same Super 20 or Super Y under 20 team with the Revolution, and that was a lot of fun. So we have in different leagues played against each other, played with each other. So it's always nice to see you. So you're from Ghana originally, right? And
Yeah.
how old were you when you came to the United States?
It was around early middle school. I think it was probably fifth grade that we came here. Um, I mean, it took a while to adjust, if I'm being honest. But at the end of the day, you have to do what you have to do. So yeah.
Mm. And did you grow up playing soccer? Or did you play another sport as well?
Well, in Ghana, I didn't really play much soccer. When I got here, well, the sport that I played was American football, and that's what I played throughout middle school and up to high school. I think it was 10th grade that we first played together.
Yes.
That's when
Yep.
I started playing
Yep.
competitively in serious. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, it was because you're a grade higher than me. So yeah, I was a freshman and you were a sophomore, and yeah, we stuck it together on JV. We were captains together with Billy, and that was a lot of fun. And yeah, it's Salem. You know, we had pretty good players on that team cohesively, and you pretty much I can easily say one of the best players to come from Salem High School, as far as
Thanks.
taking it to a whole new level. And you've been pretty much playing all types of different with different teams and different leagues, different kinds of competition out there. If I have it correct, you've played with Georgia Revolution. You've played with East Atlanta FC. That's your current club in USL League 2.
Mhm.
You've also been with, at your time at Georgia Gwinnett College, you were playing on their club soccer team for a few seasons, and then you made
Mhm.
this with the Georgia State club soccer team as well. Is there any other teams or leagues that I left out that you've played in that you want to note?
Well, after Georgia Gwinnett's, well, after Georgia Revolution, I went to tryouts at KSA. Coach Brooks, one of my greatest coaches, one of my few greatest coaches, aside from Coach Peters and Dusty, of course. He had me helping him coach some of his children. So he introduced me to this coach that was a coach at KSA, who, at that time they were running a program for players to go overseas, the Pro Profile program. So Coach Brooks introduced me to him and told him, "Hey, this guy is very reasonably okay at soccer. He's looking to move on to the next level. So is there any way you can help him?" So that coach, I can say, Coach Roger, introduced me to Coach Bruno, and that's why I started playing for KSA, and I was playing there for about a year and a half. So,
All
mhm.
right. So, where, as far as soccer wise, where do you see yourself in, let's say, the next 3 to 5 years? What would be the dream for you to be at?
Well, the ideal goal is to play the first division soccer in any, preferably a foreign country. But right now, I just have to take it step by step. Of course, I'm coaching right now, and I'm working too while I play with the East Atlanta FC. So ideally, I'm trying to translate that hard work and my efforts into the next level, which it could start from a Division 3 team or a Division 4, but ultimately, I want to be playing in a Division 1. And so I've met an agent who's trying to work with me on that. So hopefully
Okay.
that will work out. Mhm.
Yeah, I really hope so too. Like, out of all the people that I know that deserves a break and to play somewhere in a high league, it would be you, of all people. And have you?
Aside from you, of course.
I don't know. For me, if, the ship has sailed a while ago. But for you, have any teams, let's say outside of this country, have come in contact with you about, I don't know, for a trial or a scrimmage? Has any team contacted you or been interested?
Well, during my time at KSA, there was a contract waiting for me in Romania. It was a trial, but things didn't go through because of a few personal stuff. And then a program director from Spain, the Marbella Academy,
Mm,
came and selected about 5 or 6 of us to go over to Spain to join the academy. That will help us go to trials overseas. So we're supposed to be parts of that team, but again, some personal issues kind of got in the way of that. So I've just been I suppose plagued
yeah.
by personal issues, and aside that, injuries too, because an injury prevented me from playing for the Georgia Gwinnett's school team. I was rostered, but due to my injury, I wasn't able to really play. So I pretty much have all of my college eligibility
Mm,
for to play in school. But I'll have to say that the just about 2 or 3 chances that I've gotten to pretty much play overseas, but life happens.
mm. All right. And and this was all through your time at KSA that you were able to get these connections to different teams.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, pretty much, I've seen you play practically almost every single position except for goalkeeper. And
I've
which,
tried.
yeah, which, so if you were to go professionally, like, what position do you see yourself mainly playing in? What's your ideal position to fit in and play on a professional team?
Well, it's kind of funny you ask that because I think at Salem at some point I was playing midfield. I don't know if you
Yes.
remember with
Yeah,
Coach
I
Peters.
remember. Yeah.
And you kept yelling at me because you kept saying I was going out of position and I didn't know what I was doing. I don't know if you remember that Grayson match.
Oh, hey, that game I stopped 2 PKs, if you recall.
Yeah, I remember, but I just distinctly remember you just saying, "Kofi, you're going out of position. You're going out of position," and that was the first time I've ever played midfield. So I wish you would have understood my situation, Kai. But
Hey, you know,
Dusty is the first coach I played under. Seriously for club. That was at Risa, and that was the first year I've ever played. So he said, "You know what? I'm gonna put you in defense because you can run. You're fast." And I said, "Okay." Well, I couldn't do anything. I couldn't pass the ball. I couldn't. control. I was pretty much a American football player on the soccer field. So that was the first position I ever played. And then going through high school, they started, using me as a forward and a defender at the same time.
Mm.
But as I got more experienced and I got a better understanding of the game, the coaches started preferring me as center back. And that's been the position that I've come to understand and, I've become more familiar with. But when I went to Georgia Revolution my second year, they moved me to forward again. So what I think is that coaches prefer me in positions that I'm most valuable for the team. But if I'm being honest, the position that I feel most comfortable would have to be center defender because I feel a bit more secure there. I have better control of my positioning, even though right now I'm playing as a right back for East Atlanta FC. It's a bit hard to adjust, through that positioning because it's a completely different set of skills that you have to, get adjusted and adapt to. But center back, it makes it easier for me to be in control. And I think that's the position that I honestly want to see myself playing because um, the next level, I don't know how they would use me as a right back. But I think coaches would probably see my abilities and be like, he can be a central defender.
Absolutely, man. You're pretty much a nightmare for any forward to try to get by. Heck, even when we ever kick around and we do some of these one-on-one dribbles, I hardly ever get past you. It's yeah, man. I completely see your reasoning. Like center back, you fit there quite well. At our time at Salem, whenever you're playing center back, I felt pretty comfortable knowing that there's not many strikers that can just go past you without putting up some pressure on them. So yeah. So basically, Kofi, how old are you? 26.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you're still pretty much in your prime. You're in your so you can always try to there's always room, I guess, to improve. What would you say are some skill sets or anything that you can see yourself, maybe if you improved a little bit, it could maybe take you even further?
I think one thing that I still feel like I lack heavily, and ever since I started playing, was my confidence. Because in some positions, I have the ability to do it, but under certain levels of pressure, I lack the confidence to execute some of the decisions that, would otherwise be easy to most people. So that's one thing I need to improve on. The other thing I need to also improve on, if I'm being honest, this isn't particularly on the field, but better, chemistry with my teammates wherever I go. I think that's a very big and important skill that, translates eventually onto the field that sometimes I kind of like because, I'm a keep to self kind of guy and I'm only, I guess, talkative and, a bit more, what was the word? I guess a bit more open when I'm on the field. So I need to learn to build better relationships off the field. And aside from that, I need to also improve on, I guess, my finishing for if I'm ever to play forward. But aside from that, that's the only thing, my confidence and being confident in my abilities.
Nice. And you said that you're currently coaching a team, right?
Mm-hmm.
What team is that?
Well, that's the Rice U11. I started off as a assistant coach and with Coach Desmond, and he's kind of helped me a bit along. And now Coach Keon has, I guess he wants me to take over for the U11. So that's where I'll be coaching this year. I'll be trying to train and coach at the same time. So I don't know how that's going to work out, but
Yeah, that's
I'll
a
be
tough that's a tough thing to juggle. I can imagine. And yeah, let's say if the opportunity came knocking, like would you see yourself, let's say, still continuing to coach, or if let's say an opportunity came from a foreign club, would you take that opportunity?
Well, it's kind of funny you mentioned that because that's the current situation I'm in. Well, due to the COVID has kind of slowed down a lot of things. So, the agents that I was talking about earlier, he's trying to work with a team, well, 5 other teams. So apparently, he won't hear back from anything. He won't hear back anything until August. So if the opportunity was to come before that, I mean, I've already made my commitment to coach the team, so I guess I'll have to hold off on the
Mm,
chance and hope that they will understand, which I doubt that they could possibly understand because,
mm,
the doors and opportunities are always revolving. So this could be my lucky break, so to
yeah.
speak. But I've already made a commitment to coach, so I'll have to stick with that and hope that another opportunity will come by.
Because the thing is, in life, you're one decision away from having a completely different life, if you know what I mean.
Absolutely.
So
Hmm.
it's yeah, and basically, yeah, like I mentioned, you're one of the best players I've played alongside with, and I want you to like I know you have the skill set and the talent to just go as far as you're able to. So I'm sure in America the soccer the sport's growing and there's teams being created and in USL League 1 and League 2 and the championship, and of course Atlanta now has of course the Atlanta United MLS team. So
Hmm.
if the have you ever tried to try out for any, let's say, USL teams or MLS or any of those more local leagues that are somewhat higher on the soccer pyramid than USL League Two, where you are now?
Well, the only team I can remember, which was I think about 5 years ago, 5, 6 years ago, was the Seattle Sounders 2. I think at that time they were USL. So I made it through it, and it just didn't go far through that. So that was I made it through the tryouts and preseason, but that was pretty much it.
Mm,
So yeah, it's one of those things that you get a chance, and at some points you just life happens. So
mm.
yeah.
Which player do you or which player do you try to model after, like that you pay close attention to that reflects your own skill set? Like, who do you aim to be, or who do you take a lot of advice from when you
Well,
watch games?
I will have to say two players. My first player is Thiago Silva
Okay.
because when I watch him play, he kind of plays like a Van Dijk in a way,
Mm,
or rather, I want to say Van Dijk kind of plays like him in a way
mm,
because Thiago Silva is very composed. He doesn't do too much of the hard work until it's absolutely necessary. He makes things very easy on the field. He likes to control things vocally, and he's very calm on the field. You can just see it in his presence, even the way he moves about, the way they walk, the way his posture, the way he presents himself in his position is very pretty much just very relaxed and in control. And so I try to model myself after that, even in tough situations like a counter attack or anything like that. I try to keep my head cool, make sure I'm setting my plays correctly in their position so we can deal with any situation that comes about. So I try to model myself after him, and I watch his matches all the time. Sometimes when even at Milan when he was playing, I would just watch him the entire time, even off the ball, because he's communicating almost literally the entire 90 minutes, and he barely has to make sprints. So I just try to model myself after that. And then as a right back position, I try to model myself after the old Sergio Ramos
mm.
and Dani Alves. So those are the type of players I like to model my style after because Sergio Ramos is a headstrong defender wherever he plays,
Yep.
and Dani Alves is very active. So I try to mix those two type of styles in a way when I'm playing right back. But first and foremost is Thiago Silva.
Mm. Yeah, then they both, are all the players that you mentioned. They have pretty much have very long. Of course, they have long careers because they've been doing
Mhm.
all the simple things correctly, and they're very versatile, especially with Sergio Ramos and Diego Alves. Like they basically, they will, especially Sergio Ramos in his time at right back, he pretty much is one of the better goal scoring defenders in the world. And of course, I can see how you try to model after him because you are versatile as well. You've played up top in basically every position imaginable, and so I can see that for sure. And so, as a coach now, what is your coaching philosophy? What do you tell the kids? What's your message?
I think they get tired of me saying this all the time, but I always tell them that you can't take passing and shooting, and you can't take ball controls to work or school or to college, but you can take discipline and respect and commitment and sacrifice. Those are what you can take out of the field, because I feel like any player, can become a good player based on what they bring onto the field, as opposed to, their skills and their touches and all of that. Because without the discipline, you can't really go too far in the field. Without the discipline, you can't be committed with your teammates and your team. So that's one thing that I try to always make sure I get into their heads, especially as youngsters in today's age. Try to make sure that, they keep a mindset of positivity, and basically an understanding of one another and teamwork. So I don't really talk too much about skills and ball control and stuff. So I think they get annoyed at me with that. But that's one of the main philosophies. The other philosophy is that they work hard no matter what. That's it. Just work hard and make sure that no matter what happens, you're not giving up until it's over. So that's one thing that's basically our main philosophy. Just hard work and discipline.
Those are good attributes to have, and I'm sure your players they appreciate all of that, because they look up and you.
I hope so one day.
Well, the thing is, like, you sometimes post on social media, and you post how all your training routines and techniques, and you're just out there working every single day. And I'm sure the players and the kids really respect that and look up to you for just working hard, because that's how you can get to where you want to be, by working hard and just staying on top of things and staying motivated. What has so far been your greatest or most proud soccer related achievement or accomplishment that you can say, I'm very proud of that?
I think my most proudest moment was the Seattle Sounders tryouts, because that was the first time I didn't play in college because of the injury. I was coming off an injury, and that was, I can say, the first moment where I felt like, maybe I could play at the next level, because at the trials, I was probably one of the most inexperienced players, being around college players and even academy players and all of that. And me being able to play with players like that really humbled me. So that was my greatest achievement. Of course, after that, that's when I went to go tryouts for Georgia Revolution. And even though I made the team, I wasn't as excited as I was failing to make the Seattle Sounders team, because, it was tough not being chosen and, losing out to a couple of college players. But it was sort of a bittersweet sort of thing, where I was happy that, I was able to play with players like these. And from then on, I was like, maybe I can push to the next level. Maybe I can just make that extra step. Having been playing with these experienced players, and learning from just by watching them, it helped me a lot. So I would have to say that was my greatest achievement. Of course, I can't say that, being selected to go to Spain and all that and having to miss out was also a good experience. But just my first major experience among top level players was probably my greatest achievement.
Nice. Yeah, I can completely imagine how, being able to just take part and just see how some of the process of, what it takes to go to that next level being with, like you said, with the different college players and different academy players, because in this country we have a completely different setup of how players manage to get to the professional level, because United States oftentimes the route to MLS, especially if you are from the United States, is that through the collegiate NCAA level. Of course, in Europe and elsewhere, it's basically through you start off in academy and just hopefully that you work your way up to the first team once you're old enough. So to know that despite that you did not play, let's say, necessarily on a collegiate NCAA team, but to still know that you held your own against those players that did play in the top levels of college soccer, and you still hung with them. And I can easily imagine that you even did better than some of those guys anyway.
I did.
So the model of the end all be all is that you have to go to college, and that's the way to go. I mean, it helps, but there are still so many players out there that did not go to college or did not play NCAA, but they are still very, very good. It's just that they just did not get their break at this current moment. They're out there playing in those leagues that one day hopefully they can get scouted, and somebody sees that, hey, there's a lot of talent in this country where people aren't necessarily, or scouts aren't necessarily looking into, and that's kind of unfortunate that way.
Yeah, that's why I felt very lucky, to be contacted by this agents, because I was worried about the fees and all that, but he said, you know what, I'll just see what I can do and all that, and it's one thing I'm hopeful, but I have to be realistic too, because some things just, I guess, fall out due to situations. So that's why I felt very privileged, even at being able to play with Georgia Revolution, having not played in college and not really much of academy. I felt very proud too, because I pretty much did all the work on my own. Watching professionals play and actually training hard every day. It made me realize that maybe I don't need to play in college. Maybe I don't need to have played for a fancy named soccer academy, but just being able to drive myself, I can do it. And I also realized that when I went to stay and I was able to play with someone, I felt very mediocre there though. But being able to play with some of those players who were ex-professionals, and most of them played for the Atlanta United. So it was very humbling, a very humbling experience.
And so I know we talked about this kind of earlier on, and so you started off playing American football. What transitioned you to play soccer? Why did you call it a day with the American football and switched over to soccer?
I don't know why, but I always thought that I would play a professional in the NFL one day. That's how hard I trained in American football. But I went to watch my brothers. I went to my older brother Quasi to training at Rice one day, and I was kicking around, and Dusty asked me if I played, and I was like, oh no. And he was like, well, just come to tryouts one day, and let me just see what you've got, because you seem pretty fast and all that. So I just went and did my try. I wasn't the best player out there, if I'm being honest. I was probably one of the least favorable players. But Dusty, I guess he saw something in me that I didn't see, and he went ahead and added me to the team. But what actually led me to want to play soccer was I was in PE, and I don't know if you remember Alfon.
Yeah, I remember him.
Yeah. We were just kicking the ball around, and I wasn't very good. And he was like, you know what, you should come out for the soccer team. It would be something to pass the time. And I went, and since then, I guess the rest is history.
Yeah, and basically, so you did not play soccer your ninth grade year. Is that correct?
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
So yeah.
I
Okay.
played that in
So
my 10th grade. That's my thing.
got you. So yeah, that's when we first played together. And the thing was is that it was so funny that you brought up like PE because that's kind of how I knew about the soccer team at Salem
Yeah.
too. It was weird because I heard whispers that hey Salem has a soccer team and I was like oh cool I play soccer so I was trying to figure out how it all works. And so I didn't know that that was like the first day of high school for me, and I didn't know who the coach was. But I had
Mhm.
PE, and I thought, a PE teacher should know who the a sports coach or a soccer coach is. And so I remember, I think it was Coach Gibson. I went up to him and said, "Hey, Coach Gibson." I heard we have a soccer team. Do you know who the coach is? And he was like, "Yeah, it's Coach Peters, and he's a science teacher on the second floor." And so it was
Dr. Colbert, I think.
oh yeah, Dr. Collard too. But I did. He
Mhm.
didn't. But he mentioned at the time, or of course, Coach Peters. And so
Mhm.
I went up to Coach Peters's classroom. It was after school, and he was there, and I was pretty socially awkward in ninth grade. And so I went to Coach Peters's classroom, and I just knocked on the door. He just looked at me, and I said, "Hey, are you Coach Peters?" And he was like, "Yeah." And I just it all lasted like 20 seconds, and I said, "Hey, I'm and I'm going to be your goalkeeper." And then I just zoomed out of there. And so Peters thought that, oh yeah, this is going to be a goalkeeper. And so, but that's how it turned out. But yeah, we first played together
Mhm.
JV with Dr. Kolar, and that was a fun season for sure. And then
Yeah, it
rest
was.
is rest is history. Yeah.
I think I still remember that year like it was yesterday because we were all just starting, and you were socially awkward. I was, but I think you were a bit more socially awkward than
Yeah.
me. I just remember every training session, you'd be looking around like, why aren't these guys being serious about anything?
Yeah. It's I guess that's my MO is that I take things very, very seriously wherever I am. But oh man, yeah, those are good times for sure. Yeah, I miss it a lot, looking back on it. But yeah, thanks Kofi for being a part of my episode today, and it's really great talking to you. My mom especially says hello to you.
Tell her I said hello too, and I really appreciate having me do this, guy, because I mean it means a lot. Whatever I can do to help, because we've known each other for so long, and you've always had my back, well, literally on the field. So, it feels good to finally have your back in a way. But yeah, our friendship actually means a lot, and yeah, I really appreciate this.
Yeah, thanks, man. Because I mentioned right before we were started recording that I told my viewers and my fans that everybody in their life needs a Kofi, so a good friend that we may not always talk every single day, but whenever we do meet up and talk, it seems like time did not pass at all, and we just pick up
Yeah,
where we left off, and that's
exactly.
everybody. And everybody needs that kind of friend in their life, and so I appreciate having you as a friend, and I wish you the best luck at not just East Atlanta FC, but wherever life and soccer life takes you. So I'm sure we'll see each other again soon. But I just want to say thank you very much for dedicating some time to be on the podcast.
God, this actually means a lot to me too, just as much as you, because once I make it, you have to give me another interview.
Yes, absolutely. You'll be the first guest I will have, and I expect great things from you. I want to see you appear as a playable character on a FIFA video game, and that's when
I
I
hope
know.
so.
Yes,
Thanks a
but
lot,
yeah,
guy.
yeah, man.
Mhm.
Have a good rest of the weekend, and we'll hit each other up soon.
All right, thanks. You too.
Good one. Yeah.
Okay.